Champions, welcome back to English Mindset. Let me ask you something before we begin. Have you ever been fired? Have you ever been removed from something you built with your own hands, something you gave everything to, and told that you are no longer needed? Have you ever had the thing you loved most taken away from you by the very people you trusted? If you have, today's story is for you. And if you have not, today's story is still for you. Because what this man did after losing everything is one of the most powerful lessons in human resilience that the modern world has ever produced. His name was Steve Jobs. And this is not the story most people know. This is the real story, the full story, of a man who built one of the greatest companies in history, got fired from it in front of the entire world, disappeared into what most people assumed was permanent defeat, and then came back with something so extraordinary that it changed the way every human being on Earth communicates, creates, and connects. Today your English grows. And so does your understanding of what is truly possible after loss. Steve Jobs was born on February 24, 1955 in San Francisco, California. He was adopted as a baby by Paul and Clara Jobs, a working-class couple who loved him completely and promised his biological mother one thing: that he would go to college. From the very beginning, Steve was difficult. Not in a destructive way, in a questioning way. He refused to accept things simply because they had always been done that way. He asked why constantly. He pushed back against rules that did not make sense to him. His teachers were frustrated. His classmates did not always understand him. But there was one thing Steve had that nobody around him quite understood yet. He saw the world differently. Not just differently from other people, differently from how it actually was. He saw what things could become. What they should become. And he had an almost painful intolerance for anything that fell short of that vision. The vocabulary word is vision, the ability to imagine a future that does not yet exist and believe in it completely. Steve Jobs had vision the way most people have breathing, constantly, naturally, without effort. He enrolled at Reed College in Oregon but dropped out after one semester. Not because he was failing, but because he felt guilty about the money his parents were spending on tuition they could barely afford. He stayed on campus anyway, sleeping on floors, eating free meals at the local temple, and secretly attending the classes that actually interested him. One of those classes was calligraphy, the art of beautiful handwriting. He had no practical reason to study it. It would not help him get a job. It would not make him money. But it fascinated him. And 10 years later, that calligraphy class became the foundation of the beautiful typography inside every Apple Macintosh computer ever made. The lesson: never dismiss what genuinely fascinates you. What seems useless today may become the most important thing you ever learned. In 1976, Steve Jobs and his childhood friend Steve Wozniak built their first computer in the Jobs family garage. Wozniak was the technical genius, the engineer who understood circuits and code with extraordinary depth. Jobs was something different. He was the one who looked at what Wozniak had built and saw not just a machine, but a product. A revolution. Something the whole world needed. The vocabulary word is innovation, creating something new that changes the way people live or work. Apple's first product was innovative. But what made Steve Jobs extraordinary was not just that he could innovate, it was that he could see which innovations mattered and then communicate that vision to the world with a force that felt almost irresistible. Apple grew with breathtaking speed. The Apple II became one of the best-selling personal computers in history. The company went public in 1980, making Steve Jobs a multi-millionaire at 25 years old. The Macintosh launched in 1984 with one of the most famous television commercials ever made, a cinematic masterpiece that positioned Apple not just as a technology company, but as a movement. A rebellion. A declaration that ordinary people deserved beautiful, powerful tools. Everything seemed unstoppable. And then, it stopped. By 1985, Apple was in trouble. The Macintosh had not sold as well as expected. The board of directors, the group of powerful people who controlled the company, had lost confidence in Steve Jobs. They believed he was too difficult, too demanding, too focused on perfection at the expense of profit. They hired a new CEO, John Sculley, a man Steve himself had recruited from Pepsi. And then, in a move that shocked the entire business world, the board sided with Sculley and removed Steve Jobs from the company he had founded in his own garage. He was 30 years old. He was worth hundreds of millions of dollars. And he had just been fired, publicly, humiliatingly, from the company that was his entire identity. Most people assumed it was over. Steve Jobs did not. The vocabulary word is resilience, the ability to recover, rebuild, and move forward after something devastating. What Steve Jobs did next was the greatest demonstration of resilience in the history of modern business. After leaving Apple, Steve Jobs did something that surprised everyone who expected him to disappear quietly. He started again. He founded a new computer company called NeXT. It was ambitious, visionary, and commercially difficult. The hardware was expensive and the market was small. But inside NeXT, Steve was developing something that would later become the foundation of the entire modern Apple operating system. He also made an investment that most people thought was foolish at the time. He bought a small animation company from George Lucas for $5 million. That company was struggling. It had interesting technology but no commercial success. Nobody believed in it. Steve Jobs believed in it. That company was Pixar. Under Steve's guidance and investment, Pixar produced a film that nobody in Hollywood believed would work, an entirely computer-animated movie about toys that come to life when humans are not watching. In 1995, Toy Story became one of the highest-grossing animated films ever made. Pixar went public the same week, making Steve Jobs a billionaire for the first time. While the world had been watching Apple, Steve had been quietly building something extraordinary in the background. Not because things were easy, but because he refused to let defeat be his final chapter. In 1996, Apple was in crisis. The company was weeks away from bankruptcy. They needed a new operating system, and the best one available was the one Steve Jobs had been building at NeXT for the past decade. Apple bought NeXT for $427 million. And with that purchase, Steve Jobs walked back through the door of the company that had thrown him out 11 years earlier. Within a year he was CEO again. What followed was the greatest business comeback in modern history. Steve Jobs looked at Apple, broken, confused, producing dozens of mediocre products, and made one radical decision. He cut everything. He simplified. He focused Apple on doing a small number of things with absolute perfection rather than many things with acceptable quality. The vocabulary word is disruption, changing an entire industry by introducing something so different that nothing is ever the same again. What Steve Jobs did next disrupted not one industry but four. The iMac. The iPod. The iPhone. The iPad. Each one arrived like a thunderclap. Each one made the devices that came before it feel suddenly, completely obsolete. Each one changed the way hundreds of millions of people lived their daily lives. When Steve Jobs stood on a stage in January 2007 and announced the first iPhone, holding up a single device that was a phone, an iPod, and an internet communicator all in one, he was not just launching a product. He was demonstrating, to the entire world, what happens when a person who has been knocked completely down refuses to stay there. Steve Jobs passed away on October 5, 2011 after a long battle with cancer. He was 56 years old. The vocabulary word is legacy, what you leave behind after you are gone. The things you built. The people you inspired. The world you changed. Steve Jobs left behind more than products. He left behind a way of thinking. A belief that the people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are often the ones who do. A demonstration that getting fired, losing everything, and starting from zero is not the end of the story, it is sometimes the very beginning of the most important chapter. Champions, here is what I want you to take from Steve Jobs today. Your setback is not your ending. The thing that was taken from you, the door that was closed in your face, the moment when the people you trusted most told you that you were not enough, none of that is your final sentence. It is a comma. A pause in a story that is still being written. Steve Jobs was fired at 30. He came back at 41. And everything he built in between, the resilience, the learning, the quiet years of working without recognition, became the foundation of everything that came after. Your wilderness years are building something too. Trust the process. Trust the vision. And never, never, let anyone else decide where your story ends. Champions, if today's story lit something inside you, share it with one person who needs to hear it right now. Someone who has been knocked down. Someone who is in their wilderness years and cannot yet see what they are building. Subscribe to English Mindset for weekly stories about the people who refuse to give up, told in clear, simple, powerful English that grows your language and your spirit at the same time. This is English Mindset. I will see you in the next one, champions. Keep building. Keep believing. And never let your worst chapter become your final one.